Who will start? Here we have only Arab and Godavari who have rest who have, I think, are not present yet.
Sir, there was a part which was not taken by anyone. I suppose because it was a huge part.
We can split that part in two parts, two or three if needed.
Okay, sir.
And actually, we have new members in the team. So I have just reshared it. Just, yeah. So I have just reshared the PDF. So as I think when new people joins in, no, then we should be resharing the PDF so they too have access. Like I don't think Navya and Devansh have access to it so far. But today I've just shared it, so maybe they will have access now onwards. So they can also pitch into it. Yeah. So
Yeah, sure.
so maybe you both of you can who will start, Godavari or Arav?
So I will start.
Okay, cool. Will you be able to present it or you want to share it?
So I'll share it.
Share it in the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Godavari, how about you?
So I'll present.
Perfect. So can you present, and in the meantime, Arav can share it with me and I can get it ready.
Okay, sir. So is it visible to you?
Yeah, it is visible to me. However, will it be possible for you to put your phone in a landscape mode?
Oh, yes, sir. So is it okay?
Maybe your like rotate is off. Landscape mode is off from your settings because we are still seeing the same vertical thing.
So is it okay now?
Still the same. You'll have to hold your phone like this. Rather than like this, you can hold it like this.
Yes, sir. I'm holding like this. I don't know why it's not showing.
It's okay, no worries. Rotate is locked on your phone.
No, sir. No, sir. It is on.
Okay, no worries. Anyways, we can see it. I can see it because I'm on laptop. Others, I'm not sure.
So it is perfectly visible.
Cool. Go ahead.
So, sir, I have taken the section like what drives global resource use trends. So there are some factors like population, GDP, per capita income, and urbanization. Like in report, there has been significant changes have been shown. Like in 50 years, there has been significant changes in GDP, in population, in per capita income, and in urbanization also. So there are some datas that are given in the report. Like there are 2 years that has been comparable. Like in 1970, the world's total income was around $18 trillion, and now it is expected to reach $93 trillion in 2024. And like this, population has nearly doubled also. Like in 1970, the population was 3.7 billion, and now it is expected to become 8.1 billion in 2024. And average income also has gone up. And and if the income is increasing, then urbanization will also increase. Like they are interlinked. So many people are moving towards cities for the better, as they can afford the better resources like the cities provide us. So yeah, the urbanization rate is also increasing in the world, and mainly it is increasing in the developing countries. As in developed countries, around 80% population already lives in cities. So it's basically for the underdeveloped or developing countries, as many population are moving toward the cities in search of better opportunities. So this is the introduction of the this section. And these are like the drivers of global resource use: population growth, gross domestic product, per capita GDP, and urbanization, as I discussed earlier. And now I have break down the each factors of the like population. In 1970, the world population rate is like decreasing, but it is mainly decreasing for the developed countries. Still, underdeveloping or developing countries are seeing growth in their population. High income nations are like they are like their population are shrinking. Like from in 1970, it was 23%, and now it is 16%. And but it is not the same for the low income countries, as they are experiencing the fastest growth in their population also, as a average at average rate of 2.6% per year. And I have given an example also to make it easy to understand. Like imagine I have taken an example of a town. Like its population, let's say that its population was 100, like 100 people living there in 1970. And now the population is growing at an average rate of 2% every year. So now the global in 2020, the that town's population would have jumped to around 216 people. And now let's break it down further by taking the example of two families living there. And so the two families are Bhim and the Kalia family. I have taken, like I have just, it's just an hypothetical. So, and the Bhim are a well-off family, and so they decided to have two children. And the Kalia, on the other hand, come from a less fortunate background. They choose to have four children. And it is also very obvious that in developing countries, people think more children means more hands to work. More hands to work means more people to contribute, so that they could contribute to their family's income. So it goes like this. So yeah, this example shows reflects the trend of wealthier countries having slower population growth compared to poorer ones. And this scenario goes all around the world. If we compare this thing with the countries, like similarly Africa, like the Kalia family, they are having more children, they are experiencing rapid population growth. In contrast, high income countries like the Bhim family are seeing their share of the world's population decreasing. But the whole scenario reflects that the overall population of the world is slowing down. It is different for the developing countries or underdeveloping countries, but if we comparatively or relatively, if we compare the whole scenario from the previous years, so yeah, it's decreasing, and this reflects that the global trend of declining birth rate. So yeah, and the second driver of the resource use trend is like gross domestic product, world economy. So world economy is growing also, like in and it is growing at an average rate of 3% per year. But yeah, like population, this economic growth was not even everywhere though. Like Asia saw the biggest jump, as because it is in developing phase. Countries are investing in the resources and trying to urbanize themselves. So, and it is Asia, and it is developing, and Asia, all around the world, Asia saw the biggest jump in their GDP. Like it was 16% in 1970, but now in 2020 it has become 36%. Other regions also saw the growth, but yeah, it is not as fast as the Asias. Like Europe and North America, they are developed countries, or they are developed continents, but their global economy, if we compare it with the Asia income development, then it's not growing as fast as the Asia, but still they are far away from the Asian countries. And the economy got hit by the COVID period in 2020-2021. So yeah, it saw the whole economy saw it get hit by the COVID-19, and the whole economy.
Godavari, we lost you.
Yeah, hello. So am I audible?
Yeah, now you are.
Sorry, sir. And I have taken an example of I have considered the total wealth of the entire world as a giant pizza. Like in 1970, this pizza, as I have taken uh, this as a GDP of the countries. Like Asia and Pacific had a decent slice of the pizza, like around 16% of were having like around 16% of the pizza, and Europe was doing well too. Like they are having the 38% of the total income of the countries. And the major countries that were hit by the COVID-19, or they are in decreasing phase, like they are the continents like North America, Latin America, and Africa. And our world economy is growing at an average rate of 3% every year. So, and the major chunk was taken by the Asia. Like it is growing year by year, like it's tripled in size from 19% to 36% by 2020. And it shows that the economies were booming, it is in increasing phase. But still Europe and North America's, like they are at far away from these developing countries, as we started late. They are like always far ahead from us. So still, and this example and yeah, this example is also applicable for the countries like the rich countries or the high income economies were like the people who started with the biggest slices in 1970, even though their economy or bit proportionally shrunk like 80 from 81% to 61%, but they still hold a like a large share of the pizza, large share of the economy. And meanwhile, middle income countries are there like in developing phase, but still they are like not at par with the developed countries, and they need some growth now also. And the next factor is per capita GDP. So like the income is not proportionate everywhere in every country. So yeah, it is pretty obvious that key per capita GDP of the country is also not even everywhere. So so yeah, like average wealth per person, like per capita GDP has also grown significantly since 1970, but there are some big differences between the regions. Like Asia, as I said, ki Asia is developing. Like Asia is ahead from the other continents. So in Africa, on the other hand, it's still the same. Like it's in their growth is not at par with the Asia, or they still need some time. So and also West Asia also got hit by the war and economic downturns. So yeah, there also the condition is not very nice. So and rich countries are still richer than poor countries, as the gap between rich and poor countries is widening for some and shrinking for others, like it is widening for the African countries and shrinking for the Asian countries. And I have given an example also, like it's my hypothetical town that I have taken. Like in 1970 there were 100 people living there, and everyone had a similar income, averaging around $1350 per year. And now the population has grown, but it's not proportionate for everyone. Like it's not grew equally. So let's say the like average income of that town is now $11,600,
Two.
and yeah, and again I have
Okay, yeah.
taken the example of the two families, like the Bhim family and the Kalia family. Family, like they did business in Asia, and so yeah, their income grew significantly, reaching around $20,000 per year. And like the Kalia family, their income grew slowly, like many in Africa. So here here Kalia family resembles as per capita income of the person grew in Asia, like Bhim family, and the per capita income of the Kalia family of the Africa decreases like Kalia family. So they might now earn $5,000 per year, but the town also faced some challenges like recent economic downturn. Like as I mentioned, like in West Asian countries, they got hit by the price oil drops, like decrease in their prices of oils, or like they got hit by the war, so their income is decreasing or at not par with Asian countries. So so yeah, so the key point here is like Bhim family started wealthier than the Kalia family, and the gap between them has grown even bigger. Like the Bhim family, Asian countries, and the Kalia family, African countries. So the gap between them is like has grown even bigger, and the gap is widening since. So, but the middle income countries like India is growing, their our per capita income is also increasing. So that's it for the per capita factor. And the last one is urbanization. So I have taken an example, the same example, like the town with 100 people in 1970. Uh, and there, that time, most people lived on farms and used resources there only. They live in villages and they do they fulfill their needs from the land only, like they and they didn't need much resources for their survival, like we need like cities, like we need when we are living in cities. So like by 20 and these things, but this thing changes significantly in 2024. The town, like it has boomed into small city with 200 people. The population also get increased, and now there are factories, schools, shops, and many amenities that we get in cities. So and people now they can afford, so they are moving towards the cities so that they could get some more, so they could develop themselves, or they could provide better opportunities or better facilities for their children. So uh, then now the consumption rate of the resources has got increased, and it is like it negatively impacting the resources of the cities, like it's creating the unnecessary burden, like on water, on land, on and on different facility also. And so this is like what's happening globally with urbanization. Like as towns turning into cities, resources consumption is also increasing. So like now the challenge is to make cities everywhere efficient. The planning should be done, and yeah, they we can minimize our resources. We can use public transportation, and uh, we should move toward the sustainable development. We should recycle more, so that it will not, so it should not create an unnecessary disadvantage on our environment. So here is the breakdown of what's happening all over the world. Like the example, like more and more people are moving toward the cities. Like in 1970, it is given in that report. These datas are from that report only. Like in 1970, only 37% of the world population lived in cities, but by 2020 that number has been increased to 56%. And so this rapid growth is fastest in developing countries like China, India, and Africa. As these countries, because these countries are seeing their GDP growth, so it is obvious ki if the people's income will increase, they can afford more facilities, so they are moving toward the cities. And developed countries like North America and Europe, like they are already mostly urbanized. As I said earlier, that ki around 80% of their population living in cities. So but their growth is slowing down now. And the whole scenario reflects one thing, that the downside of this is like the resources consumption will increase, as and this can lead to many problems that we should reflect upon, problems like pollution, environmental damage, especially in rapidly growing cities that are not well planned and not efficiently uh, planned, like cities. And the only solution is that cities can be designed to be more efficient, and by this only we can prevent the our loss of the resources, or so that we could sustainably continue in the future also. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Along with this report, I think I had a very good show of Chota Bheem. So thank you. After a long time.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, but you could have used, as you have used it in the presentation, you could have used those terms as they were in this presentation. It would have been much more impactful, I think. I don't know what,
Sorry, sir.
as I said that as you have used those characters and the city names in your examples, but when you were talking about it, you hesitated to use them. Why was that?
No, sir. It's not like.
If you could have used them properly, like all of them, would have been much more better. Anyways, it's quite good work you have done, and it was very informative for me so far. And it brings us a few questions. Like as you already mentioned that as the population is increasing, and though there are deep divides in uh, uh, developed countries, developing countries, and like underdeveloped countries. And still, as we are moving towards urbanization, this is one of the major reasons which I understood so far, that once we have more money, we would like to have more resources, and to have more resources, we end up spending more, using more, consuming more resources, and well, they are not well equipped enough to suffice our needs. So we end up scattering or wasting most of them at the end of the day. So I think this was one of the very understanding that I got so far. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So I will share another screen. Just give me a minute. Is my screen visible? I think so.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, sir, my topic was water use under the section the use of resources. And so, starting with the introduction, I have divided it into four parts: introduction, the drivers of water consumption, how it is estimated, and the trends as we have seen from 2000 to 2020. So, starting with the introduction, water, as we all know, is one of the major resources. We use it in our daily lives, from making clothes to making heavy machineries and drinking, bathing, cooking, as we all have been studying. But the topic of concern is the depletion of water resources. The depletion of water resources, as can be seen with the increasing population because of increasing urbanization, industrialization, the pressure on water resources has been increasing day by day. So it becomes important to know the consumption pattern and trends in water use. So let us start with our presentation. Talking about the drivers of water consumption. First is purchasing power. As it is seen, the countries which are rich, the countries where the purchasing power is on par or above par, or on par or nearly as much as dollars, their water consumption is high. The second driver is consumption and patterns. Second driver of consumption is consumption and patterns. As we'll study further, the different countries reflect different consumption patterns of water. The third is climate, as the global warming is increasing. It is the talk of the hour that how climate would affect the water consumption. The fourth is water use efficiency. Now, how the data we'll be studying further is estimated. The first is studying the supply chain of water. The second is water use efficiency, measuring the efficiency of water use. The third is allocations, basically how much water is used in different areas such as domestic use, industrial, and all. The fourth is sustainability. Now, trends, I have divided trends in three parts. First is the withdrawal of water, second is sector wise allocation, and third is country wise use trends. So, talking about withdrawal, the total amount of water withdrawal grew from 3.5 trillion cubic meters to 4 trillion cubic meters from 2000 to 2020. The per capita consumption, on the other hand, decreased from 566 cubic meters to 516 cubic meters in the same time. Now, allocation. From 2000 to 2020, 67% in 2000, 67% water was used in agriculture. In 2020, it grew to 72%. In 2000, 22% water was used in industry. It decreased to 15% in 2020. 11% was used in municipality, and 2020 in 2020 it grew to 13%. Now, country-wise use. In Asia Pacific, we saw a jump of 1%. In North America and Europe, we saw a decrease of 1%, on the other hand. Now, sector-wise allocation. Agriculture-intensive consumption was seen as a major part of water consumption in Asia Pacific, Africa, and South America, due to there being a major agriculture economy, while the industrialist economies such as North America and Europe saw industry-intensive consumption. The total amount used decreased by one-third in North America, while it was increased by 45% in Asia Pacific on account of increasing urbanization and industrialization. Now, some interesting facts to know. Low-income country uses 90% water in agriculture, while high-income countries consume only 40%. While per capita water consumption saw 24% reduction in high-income countries, it is still 2.6 times when compared with low-income countries. I conclude my presentation with this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Uh, just a minute. It is nice to know that, but I have a contradiction here that how we have increased our water usage for agriculture in last 20 years.
Sir, there was nothing about this in the report, but I assume it is because of the increasing population.
I think this report has some issues because, you know, agriculture is majorly in anywhere around the world. Agriculture is mostly dependent on weather. So we also, agriculture uses a lot of monsoon water. And yes, we are also using we are pumping out water for agriculture. One reason could be of increase in water usage could be a climate change. Because when we need water, there's no water, so we pump out water.
Yes, sir.
This could be one reason. At the same time, when we talk about industrial use of water, as we have expanded industries in multifold in last 20 years. So and all the industries use a lot of water, especially the steel industry or cement industry. They use huge amount of, or even the when we use fossil fuel for electricity generation, they also use a lot of water to cool down their systems. Even when we talk about these data centers, in last 20 years, we have a huge number of data centers which are storing our data, and they also need a lot of water to cool down their data centers. So, yeah, they are using a lot of water. Still, it says that the water consumption has decreased for industries and increased for agriculture. For agriculture, yeah, we can say one factor which I can think of is climate change, but we need to. I think this is
So
a one.
2020 was a COVID year.
Yeah,
So this report highlights from 2000 to 2020. So I guess the conclusive data was taken from 2020, and 2020 was a global lockdown year.
yeah, but it cannot be only last year cannot be the final information. No, we are collecting data from last.
Yeah.
So I think this area we need to look into more, and maybe we can write and ask, what is your parameters? Or maybe we can, as we go further, maybe it will explain. So, but we should make a point, make a note of this thing, that how.
Yes, sir.
We can ask, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyways, it was nice sharing. And as usual, your presentation was so mesmerizing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So, Navya,
Yes, sir.
I think Arav is also good at video editing.
Yes, sir.
So you can definitely make use of him.
I will.
Yeah. Arav, you were in the last meeting, no, when I was discussing about those videos, YouTube videos which I showed on this week.
Yes, sir.
Would you be able to contribute in that some little bit?
Sir, I'll try.
Yeah. So kindly connect with Navya and see. And I have just sent a message in group. Let's see who all respond to it, and then you can connect with them. Okay, Navya, and you can just delegate the work. Maybe if you're not able to do, you can delegate the work and let them do.
Okay, sir.
But ensure that it is complete before your internship gets over.
Yes, sir.
Else your internship will not get over.
I have time. I have.
Apart from everything that you are doing, this needs to be completed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you guys. And as I've shared, so Arav, can you just make a note in the group that these were two things we have discussed today, and there are rest other things that needs to be discussed, and others can do the needful. And the people who have not yet selected, they can select it again.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir, I'll basically divide the sections in three parts.
Yeah,
Either one or more than one people can come.
perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.